Hello and welcome to the Fit Stop podcast. It's Ferrari. It is Lewis Hamilton signing for Ferrari in 2025. Now, anyone would have thought this was an April Fool's Day joke. Actually, no, it's the 1st of February. Happy St. Bridget's. And wow, Lewis Hamilton signing for the Scuderia, driving in red, number 44 for the 2025 season. Now, it hasn't officially, as this podcast has been recorded, it hasn't officially been announced by Ferrari or Mercedes, but lots of high people within Formula 1 and team principals and media outlets as well, Sky Sports and Autosport and Motorsport.com earlier this morning were reporting that Lewis Hamilton was going to Ferrari. Then we had Sky Sports were outside Mercedes HQ this morning, where the staff of Mercedes were told that Lewis Hamilton would not be driving for them in 2025. He will be here for the 2024 season, but not for 2025. So the world found out before the Mercedes staff found out, and silly season in Formula 1 has really kicked off, hasn't it? And it's crazy because so many drivers are out of contract. We thought maybe halfway through the season next year we'd have a lot of people moving, but nobody would have thought today that Lewis Hamilton would be announced as a Ferrari driver for 2025. Now, Lewis had signed a contract for 2024 and 2025, but as we know in Formula 1, especially with Piastri and McLaren and I was going to call him Renault, I keep forgetting what their name is called. Isn't that really, really bad? Alpine. So contracts mean nothing, and look, Lewis Hamilton has money, Ferrari have money, he'll get his way out of that contract, no problem at all. Ferrari want him, and we need to divulge into the whole reason of why has Lewis Hamilton left Mercedes, the team where he's had so much dominance with and won 6 world championships, to move to Ferrari in 2025. We'll know when Lewis and the teams make their announcement, and I'd say after this podcast goes up and later tonight, we will find out why Lewis Hamilton is signing. But this is my own personal view on what's happening, and it's been something that's been spoken of about Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari. There was rumours during the summer and last year that he was going to go to Ferrari, and Lewis always leaves it really late, doesn't he? Because he does a lot of the contracts himself, and there was times where we go into a new season and he actually hadn't signed for Mercedes, but you knew in principle he was going to be there and he was going to be a driver, because he kind of goes into this whole weird thing in winter where he just kind of hides away and you're not quite sure whether he was signing. And of course there was the 2022 championship, and after losing to Max Verstappen on the last lap and all that drama, people were like, will Lewis Hamilton be back for 2022? So it's a bit of a surprise for Lewis Hamilton to sign something, but it's something so big. And why wouldn't Lewis Hamilton want to go to Ferrari? As Vettel said a few years ago at the Canadian Grand Prix in an interview, and says, everybody loves Ferrari. No matter what team you're in, everybody loves Ferrari. Growing up as a child, everyone loves the red cars. It's the whole history of Ferrari and the history of drivers that Ferrari have had. Look, we've had some greats. We've had Michael Schumacher, who won 5 championships in a row with Ferrari. Could have won a lot more if it wasn't for Alonso coming into the sport 2005 and 2006, with Renault really improving in that season. And it's a team that brings in the championship winners like Alonso and Vettel as well. And look, we go back to Villeneuve, and there's so many great drivers that have driven for Ferrari, and Prost as well. And you know, someone like Senna never got the opportunity to go to Ferrari. Why wouldn't he? The interesting thing is Lewis Hamilton has never raced for a team that didn't have a Mercedes engine. He's always raced. He started in the lower formulas in GP2 and into Formula 1. He's always raced with a Mercedes engine. So it's going to be very different for Lewis Hamilton to be driving a Ferrari. And I think it's going to be strange for us to see him in Ferrari overalls as well. And, you know, I don't think it's the whole thing of getting an 8 championship and do what Michael Schumacher didn't do, because, you know, Michael Schumacher would have broke that record in 2005 or 2006, or had he stayed on 2007, who knows how many championship Michael Schumacher might have won if Ferrari had held on to him. Remember, Ferrari pushed Michael Schumacher out of the team for Raikkonen, who just scraped on the 2007 championship by like 1 point. So Ferrari, I think, need that name. Look, they've great drivers in Carlos Sainz, and of course Charles only signed like last week in a new multi-deal, so that's going to be an unreal lineup for 2025. 2 really fast drivers. Will they get along is the question. You know, Lewis is going to want to be the number 1 driver there. Charles has been there for the last few years and gone up with the Ferrari Academy. So that's going to be a very interesting lineup. And then that leaves Carlos Sainz. Where is Carlos Sainz going to go for the 2025 season? Could he go to Red Bull if Perez isn't signed? He's probably not going to go to McLaren. I'm sure they're going to tie Piastri in there. Could he go to Mercedes and be beside George Russell? Could Alonso make a move to Mercedes for the 2025 season? Could Vettel come back and be in the seat? Ricciardo is there as well. And obviously there's a lot of drivers out of contract who could end up with Mercedes in 2025. It's going to be a silly season next year anyway, or this year in 2024 with driver contracts, because pretty much like 80% of the grid don't have a contract. But we do know that Lewis Hamilton now is going to Ferrari, and that opens a lot of questions of a lot of the Irish, UK and the English fans have been following Lewis Hamilton all his time. You know, he was with McLaren, the connection there, and I know Mercedes is a German manufacturer, but you know, based in England, in Brackley, where they make their engines. And so, you know, it's a British team by heart, so it's going to be strange to see a lot of the English and UK fans and the Irish fans, the European fans, going for Ferrari that might have seen Ferrari as the enemy. And also as well, how are the Ferrari fans going to take this? Because nobody says anything bad about Ferrari. You're not allowed to say anything bad about Ferrari. The only person that's allowed to say anything bad about Ferrari is the press in Italy. No one else would say a bad word against Ferrari. So it's going to be interesting. But the market for Ferrari went up 7 million today, the announcement of Lewis Hamilton. So you can imagine the merchandise, the cars, and why wouldn't Lewis Hamilton want to be part of that family? Red Bull, even though, you know, compared to Ferrari, they're relatively new to Formula One. Ferrari have this whole thing of, if you're a Ferrari driver, you're a Ferrari driver. And look at people like Irvine and Vettel and Alonso. You'll be looked after. You'll always be a Ferrari driver. Rubens Barrichello. It's a family. And that's what Lewis Hamilton needs to buy into, isn't it? It's the whole Italian thing, the whole Ferrari thing. Lewis Hamilton with the Ferrari national anthem for winning constructors is going to be brilliant. And it just, like, if you can think about Lewis Hamilton in a winning car in 2025, going up for the championship maybe against his teammate Charles, and mix up some of the Red Bull maybe if it's competitive, which it probably will be in 2025 with Max Verstappen, it is looking like an incredible season. And look, the Formula 1 season hasn't even started. Sky Sports are doing the F1 show tonight. People are talking about Formula 1, and we were getting ready for the car launches. I just can't wait for the interview from Lewis Hamilton and from Ferrari, and of course from Toto Wolff as well, and go, have they fallen out? There was many points as well where PJ, who comments on my stuff on TikTok, says that, remember there was a time where Lewis finished on the podium and none of his team were at the podium, and we thought maybe there was an excuse for that. It's happened a few times. You know, is this just Lewis wanting to do the Ferrari dream and maybe retiring and trying to win a championship with Ferrari, or has he fallen out with Mercedes? Has he looked at the car for 24 and 25 and gone, no, I don't want to be driving this. Ferrari gave me a good offer, I signed it a few months ago, I'm dotting the lines now. Look, who knows, but it's a big one. Lewis Hamilton to 2025, and then that opens the door for where do all the other people go in the silly season about where do people sign. Lando Norris might be looking, going, did I miss an opportunity there to go to Mercedes? But then again, maybe he's buying into the whole McLaren thing. We don't know how McLaren are going to be this year after a bad start last year. They were like the second best team and they were quite close to Red Bull. So a lot is going to unfold. If this turns out not to be true, it'll be the funniest day ever. February the 1st kicking off St. Bridget's Day in style. It felt like April Fool's, didn't it? But Lewis Hamilton going to Ferrari is such a big story because he's a 7-time world champion going to a team that knows how to win. Look, it's had a bad few years. It hasn't won a championship in such a long time. The last time was Kimi Räikkönen, wasn't it? 2007 since they've won a driver's championship. So they really need to do this. But look, qualifying is going to be amazing when you have Charles and Lewis in the same car. Like, they're both really good at putting a car on pole. Lewis Hamilton must have something like 104 or 105 pole positions and well over 100 wins, 103, 104 wins maybe. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. It's a big day in Formula 1. Lewis Hamilton heading to Ferrari in 2025. Look, I'll have more podcasts coming up, obviously, when we talk about the season in full, and maybe something tomorrow over the weekend when we hear more from Lewis Hamilton and from Ferrari, and an official statement from Mercedes as well. Toto Wolff will be absolutely devastated. But maybe Toto Wolff is leaving. Who knows? There's so many things about 2024 and 2025 we don't know. But one thing we do know, we'll be hearing Lewis Hamilton on the podium if he wins with Ferrari and the Ferrari national anthem. He's going to be wearing red and number 44 on the car. Lewis Hamilton is going to Ferrari in 2025. Let me know in the comments how you feel about it.